Greetings, programs, and welcome back to Prime Time. So, today we have Voyager class Dark of the Moon Fireburst Optimus Prime. And just to get this out of the way, I'm going to try to color correct this. He's actually an incredibly dark navy that every camera and every lighting situation I've tried always shows up black. So, I'll see if I can fix it in post, but if not, and it still looks like I've got a black and red figure here, sadly, no, this is not a Nemesis Prime. This is just a very dark Navy Prime. So, this figure is actually a repaint of the standard release Voyager Dark of the Moon Prime. I do not have that figure, but, I mean, I've already got this one. Why would I need it in other colors? Spoiler. But anyway, check out some of the details here. He's got some really nice lightning effects here on the side. A bit of orange on these tanks, whatever they are. Sort of a honeycomb design actually molded into the clear plastic here that's painted over with the sort of, I don't know, I guess it's not a pattern there. It's just interesting, though. They did a paint detail. Woohoo! Some kind of details molded here into the front windshield, which is a nice clear orange. Little tiny Autobot symbol on the front there, which is actually incredible, because that's like 2 millimeters, I think. Like, that thing's just tiny. And they actually got a pretty well sculpted Autobot symbol in there. Now, to anyone who knows Transformers, you're going to be familiar with that part when you put them in vehicle mode and then you just kind of squish them together and mash them to get everything to line up. Sadly, that does not work on this guy. So as you can see, there's like just big obvious panel gaps everywhere going around this cab. I generally keep this guy just sitting around in his robot mode, though, so that doesn't bug me. But overall, I do still like this cab mode. If only because, it's got the Optimus transformation here, where this half's the torso, this half's the legs. And it's the only one that I've seen, at least so far, where it doesn't just have feet sticking out the back. They actually bothered to get the feet to go completely flat underneath the figure. So, you don't have just feet on the back of a truck. So, and he does come with a weapon. He's got one of the mech tech weapons that were pretty common around that era. I think basically all the figures had them for the third movie. Was that the third movie? I don't know. The movies were But, as you can see, he's got this pretty ridiculous-looking rifle. It's got more of the honeycomb molded into the clear plastic and some, I guess probably energon burst going on. The handle does angle back a little more if you wanted to hold it at an angle. And what makes this the best mech tech weapon I've ever seen, you can fold the handle down completely, grab a hold of this, pull it down, and then push it all over to the side to lock it, and he's got his energon axe. Like, I'm sorry, but this is awesome. Because it's Optimus. This was probably the first Optimus figure I got, and at that point, I was just all about the figures. I didn't even really know anything about the lore, but I still understood Optimus, axe. Optimus, axe. So getting a movie figure that actually came with the axe, I thought was pretty cool, actually. And just getting this back into gun mode really quick, it does store. There's these panels up here on the side that if I actually try to put it in there, it's going to untransform in part way for me. So I usually just keep it popped into the trailer hitch here. So he's a defense cab. And if you want, it does actually, the back of the cab is just completely open. So you can just do that, have the barrel going into it, and it can look really weird. So, hopefully I can get this guy transformed on camera. If you see a jump cut, that means I could not. Because this is a movie figure, and as you would expect, it is needlessly complicated to transform it. Editing-based transformation here, but here we have him in his robot mode, and I love the way this robot mode looks. It has got just little details everywhere, all over it. You know, it's got this kind of jetpack thing going on. I think he might have had something like that in the movie. I don't know. I know he took some dude's parts. Again, I didn't really care for the movies, and I haven't seen them in a very long time either. But for articulation, he does actually have a waist joint here. He's got a, I guess it's called a soft ratchet for his legs. It goes all the way back, all the way forward, and even up a little bit. Now, I don't actually know if you're supposed to keep this panel up or down, by the way. I do not actually have instructions for this guy. I had to figure this thing out the old-fashioned way while I was in college. And so I'm actually shocked that I can transform him at all, which is probably part of why I find it so difficult, and I had to do it off camera. But anyway, knee goes touch over 90 degrees, I'd say. He does actually have an ankle tilt, which was kind of rare back around then. Foot does tilt around a little bit, but this panel does kind of get in the way of that. Arms, full 360 at the shoulder, up and down, bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow from the transformation, so he can actually do like a complete curl if you want. And then the wrist is on a ball joint that also has a little indentation here, so you can flex it in as well as get it to rotate. So, oh, and yeah, his head is on a, I think it's a ball joint. You know, it wiggles a little bit, but mostly it just has room to spin. Now, this figure has one massive downside, and it's something that was pretty common around then. The dreaded denied piping. So as you can see, showing up a little bit there, he actually does have complete, you know, orange eye piping going on, which would have been really cool for this design, but instead they're like, nah, paint it blue. Why? So, in this mode, he does obviously hold his gun, which is a very tight fit to get in, at least for my figure. But he holds it pretty well, you know. It's a fairly big gun, but, you know, he doesn't have any trouble with the weight of it or anything. Stare off into space and shoot things out of frame. And then, probably the best part of this weapon, if you switch it back to axe mode, the entire barrel here is actually 5mm, you know, port sized. So you can actually get him to hold his axe with both hands. And right there, this figure just went straight to an 11. Because he actually can hold an axe the way you would hold a giant, massive battle axe. Which, forget Transformers, I don't see most action figures being able to do that. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed this rather slapdash video. And I will see you guys next time.